All right, this is just going to be a short video. Welcome to Black Swan Revelations. Today we're going to be talking about a video that was done by a gentleman. I forget what his name is. Don't really care. It's the YouTube channel is called Uncover the Lies. So we're going to review one of his videos about what happens to us basically after we die. Do we go to heaven? And is it blasphemy if we say that after we die, we go to heaven as a Christian? So without any further ado, let's just jump into this video. See what this guy has to say.
Hi, and welcome to Unlearn. My name is Lex, and today I want to ask a question. The question is this: is it blasphemy to say that we die, that we go to heaven when we die? Is it blasphemy to say that we go to heaven when we die? I want to read a short little paragraph from a Christian theologian in the second century. His name is Justin Martyr. He was considered the first Christian theologian. He's considered one of the early church fathers, and most of his writings are very highly exalted in the church and well thought of, and people really appreciate the stuff that he said. But this particular writing has been one that people kind of overlook. And I want to look at it and just pose the question and see where this takes us. Okay, here's what Justin wrote in his dialogue with Typho, chapter 80. For I choose to follow not men's doctrines, but God and the doctrines delivered by him. For if you have fallen in with some who are called Christians, but who do not admit to this truth, and venture to blaspheme the God of Abraham, and the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, who say there is no resurrection of the dead, and that their souls, when they die, are taken to heaven, do not imagine that they are Christians. But I and others who are right-minded Christians on all points are assured that there will be a resurrection of the dead. Okay, so summing it up, Justin basically said, if anyone says you go to heaven when you die, they are a blasphemer and don't consider them a Christian.
Okay. So you see why I get frustrated with these people? One, this gentleman doesn't know how to read, first of all. I know it goes all the way back to like 110 to 165, but just read it. Read the whole thing. You actually skipped out some of the best parts. So I'm kind of curious as to why you omitted some of the stuff, but luckily I found the chapter online and I'm going to read it to you. I'm going to read what it says. So this is where it is. It's logoslibrary.org. This is St. Justin Martyr from 110 to 165. Dialogue with Trifo. All right. So I'm just going to read the chapter because this is the easiest way to explain how ridiculous this guy is. All right. And Trifo to this replied, I remark to you, sir, that you are very anxious to be safe in all respects, since you cling to the scriptures. But tell me, do you really admit that this place, Jerusalem, shall be rebuilt? And do you expect your people to be gathered together and made joyful with Christ and the patriarchs and the prophets, both the men of our nation and other proselytes who joined them before your Christ came? So this is alluding to Ezekiel 37, which I've always talked about in my videos, that in order for this to happen, for Israel to return, Christ will gather them to spiritual Israel, if you will. But anyone that believes in Jesus Christ, that he is their king, their Lord and their Savior, the one that died on the cross for us, those people are going to be gathered and live in Israel. Anyone, including Israel, including the patriarchs, including the proselytes, whoever that believed and call upon the name of Christ, those are the ones that are coming to Jerusalem in the millennium kingdom, and they are going to reign with Christ. So let me just, I don't even know if you guys saw that, but that's okay. We're just getting started here. So let me just go, let me capture that screen. I forgot you guys couldn't see it. Here we go. Here's the entire chapter here. So I just found it. It's on Logos Library. So again, you can go there yourself and read the whole book if you want. But we're on chapter 80. And Trypho to this replied, I remark to you, sir, that you are very anxious to be safe in all respects, since, and I think this would be appropriate to use my little pen so you guys can follow along, even though it might look small from home, that this place, Jerusalem, shall be rebuilt. That's kind of cool. When? During the millennium kingdom. And do you expect your people to be gathered together and made joyful with Christ after, remember, gathered together after the Great Tribulation, and made joyful with Christ and the patriarchs and the prophets, both men of our nation, proselytes, who joined them before you, before your Christ came? Or have you given way and admitted this in order to have the appearance of worsting us in the controversies? All right, so having a little bit of a dialogue here, a little bit of a discussion going back and forth. So then St. Justin says, then I answered, I am not so miserable a fellow, Tryphos, as to say one thing and think another. So he's a little bit upset at this guy. I admitted to you formally that I and many others are of this opinion and believe that such will take place, as you assuredly are aware. But on the other hand, I signified to you that many who belong to the pure and pious faith and true Christians think otherwise. Look at this. Moreover, I pointed out to you that some who are called Christians, but impious heretics, teach doctrines that are in every way blasphemous, atheistical, and foolish. But that you may know that I do not say this before you alone, I shall draw up a statement, so far as I can, of all the arguments which have passed between us, and which I shall record myself as admitting the very same things which I admit to you. For I choose to follow men, I chose to follow. I chose to follow not men or men's doctrines, but God and the doctrines delivered by him. For if you have fallen in with some who are called Christians, but who do not admit this truth, and venture to blaspheme the God of Abraham. So he's about to tell you what the truth is, and the God of Isaac and the God of Jacob, who say there is no resurrection of the dead. So that's what he's saying. These are false Christians that say there's no resurrection of the dead. So again, these are what they're saying. They're saying, okay, who say there's no resurrection of the dead, that their souls, when they die, are taken to heaven. So this is all one sentence. Okay? They're saying there is no resurrection of the dead, and when we die, our souls go up to heaven. It's all one sentence. That's all he's saying. He's saying these people, don't count them a Christian because they're saying there's no resurrection and that our bodies or that our souls, when we die, go up to heaven because they don't believe it. That's a Sadducee. Sadducees don't believe in the resurrection. They don't believe in spirits or any of that stuff. So let me go back to the screen just so you can make sure that I'm not reading into anything here. It's trickery, man. It's trickery. They're trying to trick you. All right. So right here. And the God of Jacob, who say there is no resurrection of the dead and that their souls, when they die, are taken to heaven. So that's all one thing. no resurrection of the dead, and that their souls, when they die, are taken up to heaven. That's what they're saying. They're saying there's no resurrection of the dead, and that their souls, when they die, go up to heaven. That's a false Christian. Because then he says right here, look at this, do not imagine that they are Christians, even as one, if he would rightly consider it, would not admit that the Sadducees are similar sects of the Genesti, the Meriti, the Galileans, the Hellenists, the Pharisees, the Baptists, or Jews. Do not hear me impatiently when I tell you what I think, but are only called Jews and children of Abraham, worshiping God with lips, as God himself declared, but the heart was far from him. But I and others who are right-minded Christians on all points assured that there will be a resurrection of the dead and 1,000 years in Jerusalem, which will then be built, adorned, enlarged, as the prophets Ezekiel, Isaiah, and others declare. So when is Jerusalem going to be rebuilt? It's in the Millennium Kingdom. Ezekiel 37. It's pretty clear. It's pretty clear there. When? When Jesus Christ unites two sticks, the stick of Joseph, the stick of Judah, combines them both together, and they become one nation. No longer two nations, no longer Israel, no longer Judah, but they become one nation under God. That happens when? In the Millennium Kingdom, or just prior to the Millennium Kingdom, when he gathers everyone. All those, remember those people that he took out their stony heart and put a new fleshy heart and wrote his commandments? Those are people that believe in Jesus Christ. So, for this guy, don't even know what his name is, don't care, I'm kind of tired right now, but the idea that you could say that if we believe in, as a Christian, that we're going to heaven after we die is blasphemous, and you're not a Christian. What kind of yellow snow are you selling, my friend? If you don't know what yellow snow is, I'm in North America, in Cochrane. There's a lot of white snow. If a dog goes in the snow, yellow snow, you'd never give that to your neighbor. Don't sell that stuff to your neighbor. This guy is selling people yellow snow. He's full of baloney, calling this guy out. There's a bunch of videos that he has. Like, I got tired after watching some of them. I'm like, dude, you're trying hard, trying hard. And these guys are all doing the same thing. Noah's flood. Noah goes into the ark, but you don't want to be the one that goes into the ark. Like, they say stupid stuff like this. Like, it's crazy after a while. Like, they'll say things like, you don't want to be the ones that are taken away because the people were taken away in the flood, and that's who God is taking away. Like, removing them. That's who God is taking away and leaving the good people behind and removing the wicked. And then when you see in the parable of the tares and the weeds, tares and the wheat, you see that Jesus says, first bundle up the tares. Why? Because they're going to be burned. And then, so you bind up all the tares. Here's a bunch of weeds. Let them grow at the same time, so you can't tell them apart, and they're all growing at the same time. And then when it's time to harvest them, you just go up to the tares, you bundle them up so they can't move, and then you use the swather. Now that you got all the tares out of the way, you can now make a nice clean swath, and you take the wheat and you remove it into the barn where it's safe and sound. The tares haven't been removed, they've been bundled. They have to face their destruction. And then you just walk by with a torch, you light that tear, you light that tear, that tear, that tear, that tear, and that whole field is a field of burning. Why? Because you're not worried because you removed the wheat into the barn. Where's the barn? Do you think the barn is in the field? No, it's back at the master's home, close to him. So you bundle up the tares. Their purpose is burning. I think anyone with common sense will see that. And then the wheat, now you're free to just swath all the wheat. And then you gather all the sheaves, you put them into your barn, and then you come back. And it's payback. It's payback time. Sorry, I get a little excited here. So, anyways, people like to mix stuff up. They do. They're trying to twist scriptures. And at the end of the day, what is this doing for you? It's actually causing you confusion. And eventually, what will happen is these people will cause some of that great falling away because people are like, I don't know what I stand for anymore. I don't know who I am in Christ. It feels like I don't have eternal salvation, whatever. I don't know anything. And they're going to suffer loss because of people like this that are trying to invoke fear into people. It's ridiculous. And I'm here to stop that. So I plan on making more videos about this guy and some of his teachings so that way you can watch his videos and then you can say, oh yeah, you know what? That kind of makes sense what Shane was saying. Agree, disagree, whatever. It's up to you. If you like this kind of thing, feel free to subscribe. I felt I had to make a video. I had to make a video. I couldn't wait any longer, even though I'm not quite 100% yet. I've lost about 20 pounds in the last week, so a little bit under the weather, just a little bit. But I'm on the other side now because I can actually get a good night's sleep for once. So if you think about it, pray for me. Pray for my voice because as a YouTuber, your voice is everything. So thanks again. Love you guys, and I'll see you in another video. Bye for now.